first line on the purse strings. And when the CR comes up, that's our opportunity to force the president to work with us on a number of issues. But beyond that, if our commander-in-chief that was re-elected in this country decides to break the Constitution, it is a challenge to hold him accountable. And he's done it several times now.
Impeachment? We've always put it there for a reason.
Impeachment is a very serious issue. I think that you have to prove that the leader of the free world has done something that is so far against American beliefs that and the mistrust that he's been sworn into that you move like that. I think that him trying to move beyond these phony scandals is something that opens the door for us to investigate further. IRS targeting people, targeting individuals, targeting political organizations is a huge issue that we're going to hold accountable. But the biggest issue for me thus far in this presidency has been Benghazi. Those are American lives on American soil, and they were left hung out to dry. And to have this talked about or sworn in under oath in front of our committee, and for them not to be able to respond on how it happened, what were their tactics, I think is a huge issue, not only for the safety of America, but how the rest of the world views us. And now you still have those terrorists running around that need to be held accountable. So depending on how far these investigations go, we could get into a scenario where the president has broken the law.
To say the least. Even with the proposed Enlistment Act that does not address the consequence for violating our laws and borders, what consequence will there be in place as a prerequisite before enlisting? Your smile.
What will be the prerequisite for enlisting? It's the military code. The same as anybody else. I sign up for the military, I have to pass a background check. I have to speak English. I have to be able to pass high school or high school equivalency. It'll be the same thing, including and especially taking an oath to our Constitution, being willing to serve in a hostile time, in a hostile territory.
Well, I can understand that, considering that people coming in for that purpose. But
nobody can come in for that purpose. If you read the Enlist Act, you cannot come in. It are only for those kids that came here to no fault of their own, that have been educated in our schools, and it's not going forward. We don't want to attract more people breaking the law, but we do want to fix our system today. We have people out there today that aren't paying taxes, that aren't contributing to the greatness of America in the way that it is fair to all Americans. We need to fix it. I know we can debate this right now, and we can have a conversation, or we can do the questions. But if you want me to answer, I'm happy to answer.
Well, okay, is it not true that in order to enlist, you have to have a clean record as far as civil law or whatever? Is that true?
It's true.
Okay, well then if these people have broken the law to get in here, how can they enlist? They came in here illegally.
They did?
Yes.
So somebody who was brought here at 2 years old.
Okay, well these are the qualifications the question asks for, so go ahead.
I'm asking you, what law did they break?
Well, okay, well I guess there'll be two categories based on this discussion.
No, there are several categories.
Okay, well,
We need to understand the laws that are in place today, and the laws that are being broken, and what we can do to fix it. I'm not somebody who's going to let this continued amnesty go on, or have our borders continue to come across. We need to fix it today. There are 11 million people here that we have to address, that 40% of them came over on legal visas, and there is not a law on the books that would give them a criminal record where they can be picked up and deported. It's just not the law today. There is no federal law that gives Adam Christensen the right to take somebody on an expired visa, take them into custody, and deport them. So what do you do about it? Unless you change the law.
And there's
Now,
also
if they decide to go back, if they decide to leave the country, well, they can't come back again. They don't have a visa. But because they came here legally, they are stuck staying here or going back and taking a chance of not coming back again. That's 40%. 2.5 million kids were brought here that we have never, as a nation, penalized the kids for their parents' mistakes.
Okay, so
There is no crime. There is nothing you could put them in jail for.
So that's the group you're saying that would be allowed doing this?
Yes,
Okay.
that only that.
Okay, but those that came across here illegally will not be able to because they broke the
No.
border. Correct.
Right. Very clear in the bill.
Would you like to answer a few questions?
Sure, I'll take as many questions as y'all have me out.
Okay, go for it.
The king and spoke, and we told us why he was going to have tax increase. The people that are making $450,000 or more, and you told us your rationale for justifying that. Now, in light of the millions and millions of dollars wasted by the IRS for conventions for their employees, the GSA that's starting on TV. And that's just one snowflake in a snowstorm of abuse and oppression and thievery. And our governors, do you still defend your vote on that bill to increase taxes on people that have been productive and are job producers?
I absolutely stand strong on every vote that I take, especially though.
No regrets?
No.
That we should steal money from productive citizens so that government can
Are you
continue
telling
to
me
raise?
the Bush tax cuts that George Bush in a Republican-controlled House and a Republican-controlled Senate couldn't pass for a long-term extension when they couldn't get it done, and we actually passed a long-term extension for our community? Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. Let me finish, ma'am. If you'll allow me to finish, I'll allow you to answer another question. I stand strong on those tax extensions because I'm representing a community that has farmers that are going out of business, and in estate sales, a death tax that is continuing to force the next generation not to be into the business that I love. So yes, extending those to something that Karl Rove and George Bush couldn't get done, absolutely. And they have praised us for it. Now, would I have liked to have extended all of them? Absolutely. I didn't get the chance to vote on that.
Well, I'd like to say to the taxpayer that, as far as I'm concerned, is that our Republican congressman should have stood up and fought the administration on those tax increases. Because all it does is steal money. We need to look at taxes in the whole, not just benefiting a certain section of constituents in an area. Because they just need to stand up and fight this. Because now what are we going to do now when we have a continuing meeting? When you didn't fight it back then, when are you going to give up then?
What do you mean I didn't fight it?
When you voted for this.
That means I didn't fight it?
Yes, it means, as far as I'm
But this is-
concerned, you did not fight it.
Congressman Down, the problem as I see it is that we have a situation with the bureaucracy, all right, Congressman, that they're overreaching all over the place. You talk about frogs and toads, you talk about other bureaucracies that are continually overreaching. If, all right, you were to pass something on amnesty, or not amnesty, on immigration, I do not think this current administration is capable of policing. And I would like to request that Congress become responsible for that particular policing.
Absolutely.
Okay?
I would tell you the House is committed to that. You know, that's the biggest problem I have with the Senate version. You know, the trigger that they allow, I'm not gonna leave this up to Janet Napolitano or the president. The president already thinks that our border is secure. I want a guarantee. Show me what that guarantee is, or I can't support it. You know, there's been a lot of different talk about using the sheriffs along those counties along the border. You know, at one point we were looking at governors certifying their border, although we have Jerry Brown in the state, so that leaves me a little concerned. But I do think that there is a way that we can address it. We're not there yet, but we've got to have a guarantee before we're on that piece. We can't conference with the Senate about it.
At one point, Marine Recon was used to identify drug smugglers. And they got to the point where they overloaded the DEA. Is there not some way that we can use military troops on the border to at least identify for Border Patrol?
Yeah, we can always utilize our military troops, both on the federal level or the National Guard. It's been done before, we can certainly do it again. They did do it in the last election on a very, very small piece. I disagree with the legislation. If I were in the state senate today, I'd vote against it. But our election laws continue to change in this state to be able to pick the outcome of the election. We just want a fair election. So I believe in having registered voters run all of our polls and hold them accountable.
Well, how can we as citizens stop this? I mean, I know we have voting conservatives, but how else can we?
That's a part of it, but you also have to hold, you know, your valley delegation accountable, Republicans and Democrats. You know, we have a right to organize and go out and talk to all of those members that thank them when they agree with us and show up at all of their events when they don't. Believe me, I have a lot of people show up to a lot of things, a lot of those public town hall meetings that I have all the time. A lot of people show up to disagree with me, or to yell, or to cause problems. But as long as we can have a respectful dialogue, I'll give you my honest answer on that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's any financial release bill has to start off with the House of Representatives. I'm asking this for a reason.
No, you can make government cuts in the Senate.
But anything having to do with any kind of spending has to start off in the House of Representatives directly.
Technically, they're supposed to, appropriations bills are supposed to start in the House. The Senate every year, literally almost every month, will try to take one of our bills and amend it so that they actually take a bill that has nothing to do with spending and make it a spending bill in the Senate. The system's been rigged for a while.
The reason why I asked that is because one of the original questions had to do with the Fort Hood incident and, well, it was a tragedy really, with the office on Major who now publicly admitted the fact that he did so under terrorist reasoning. And despite the fact that now their court martial is refusing to prosecute that. And that's not what that's prefacing. Given that House Representative bill, would it not be possible to draft a bill allowing for those survivors of Fort Hood or their family members to receive benefits, knowing that it was done in potentially military action?
Yes, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that Fort Hood tragedy, those men and women that were lost, died serving their country, and their family members should get full benefits. We're going to continue to fight to make sure that happens.
statement, you said in reference to evaluating the border, you came up with congressmen, you came up with governors, you came up with whomever. The appropriate people, Jeff, would be the people that own property along the border and suffer the consequences of those people crossing the border. Those are the people that need to evaluate whether the border is secure or not. Do you agree?
No,
Why not?
it's federal responsibility. It's a
No,
federal
you said you
responsibility.
were gonna choose a committee,
Yeah, for the.
and so if you said the governor could do it, he certainly isn't federal. And we are federal, we are the government, we need to make the decision, not you, not your colleagues, not
You
the
have property
government.
along the border?
Pardon me?
You have property along the border?
You know, I urinated there 2 years ago.
You marked your spot.
Yes.
Yes.
I couldn't support that.
Well, that tells me a lot.
It should tell you a lot.
It does.
I'm not
It
just,
tells me that you're not for the citizen. It tells me you're for big government.
look, just because a citizen wants to take my gun rights away doesn't mean I'm gonna believe what
We're
the,
not talking about
let me
that.
finish.
Okay,
Let me
all right.
finish.
We're not talking about
All right, you
that.
can talk all you want then.
Thank you.
All right, I'm about done here today. Thank you guys for having me tonight. I appreciate the opportunity.